Today's guest is Christopher Bloomfield, a husband, a dad, and a longtime traveler who's made a habit out of saying yes to new experiences. And in our conversation, we talk about what it's really like to live on the road and how his family decided to take their journeys overseas and what he's learned about chasing his dreams, handling daily routines, and finding the good in every day. And if you love honest stories and a reminder that it's okay to figure things out as you go, then you're going to enjoy this conversation. Now hit subscribe and check out Christopher Bloomfield.
So how have you been? I think the last time we spoke, you were, I want to say in Colorado, or you were somewhere in the States. You were still touring the States heavily.
I was in the States. I feel like it was in Louisiana. I was asking Sarah, my wife, where was I the last time when I went on his podcast? And she thought Louisiana, but we couldn't remember. It was somewhere stateside for sure, though. And since then, we've gone international and started touring the world. So now I'm nowhere in America.
I saw that. I was like, oh my God, why are they on the other continent now? What the hell is going on? He must have shifted his strategy. What happened?
Well,
in the States?
Well, no, we had just been in America for so long touring, and it was one of those things where it was like we were at, I think, 35 states that we had visited a second or third time. And so it just became a thing where it was like, well, what do we do next? What's the next thing? Because we've already explored America so much. And so my wife was like, well, let's just tour the world. And
so let's just tour the world.
So then we started anyways. I found out very quickly, the world is a very big place.
Well, tell me, from the moment you guys decided, all right, we're going to tour the world now as a family, where were you when that took place? And then what were the steps that followed right after that?
So we had just gotten our passports around the time that I talked to you last. So we were in Louisiana. We were planning on going to Colorado to go to a spot that my son wants to go to college at. So we're free and unbound by the normal constrictures of a home or anything like that. So he's like, hey, I want to go to this school in Colorado. We were like, all right, well, we'll just go there and post up for a minute and we'll just check out the area and you can meet some people and get established. And so we volunteered to be camp hosts for a state park right near there and went and we met people. And so in between Louisiana and there, we were already determined we're going to get our passports just because we tried to go to Alaska at one point and then the COVID lockdowns happened. And so that sidelined our whole passport thing. And so it was like, this is time. We should just get our passports and then that way we have the option to go to other places. Well, we went to Colorado and we had no clue on how we were going to make it happen. And just kind of randomly, he got work, I got work, Sarah's work went crazy. And so we were like, well, it seems like financially we might be able to do 20 days in a foreign country. So let's just start planning it. But we don't ever mess around. We dream big. And so we went to Italy for 45 days to start this shindig. And now we're in Spain, and we're at a week in Spain, and I got another 3 weeks here, and then I already have a one-way plane ticket to Morocco. So when we started traveling internationally, we did not buy round-trip tickets. I just bought one way and just said, I'm going to leave it all open-ended, and we're just going to just wander around and then just see how it goes. Well, the internet is a beautiful thing because I'm talking to you from Spain. And so since she works digitally, it kind of works towards we can work anywhere and still make it work. And so strangely enough, I actually became a travel agent. It fits with the lifestyle.
Very fitting, Chris. I'm glad you became a travel agent. It's right up your alley.
So I have all this experience now, booking travel, figuring out the logistics of travel. I love travel. It's like our passion. So it makes sense on so many levels. And so randomly I walked into this opportunity and somebody was like, have you thought about being a travel agent? And I was like, well, we have, but I've never done anything about it. And so in the middle of exploring Italy and editing my book to come out and doing the homeschooling stuff with the kids and making food and all that stuff, I also threw on my plate, let's just become a travel agent and did. I thought it was an intense travel agent education thing, because I did it in 2 weeks and I found out later it's supposed to be a 3-month course. And I just literally just did it in 2 weeks and just nonstop education while also still exploring and doing stuff. So it's been kind of busy and crazy, but I thrive on that and I like it. And so
I can imagine if you're out in the middle of God knows where all the time, you constantly have to figure out what you're going to do. how you're going to spend that time, right? And the needs come up. Money is definitely a need. So I'm always curious about that. Apparently, your wife is doing well online, doing her job, right?
So she's worked as a writer online, writing for car companies, and just she's written financial stuff, real estate stuff. And we like
Content
to.
creator.
No, she's not a content creator necessarily. She's a writer. She does it
Okay.
freelance. So technically, she's making content, but she's not. We have a website. She writes for our website. The website pays for itself, but it's not enough to pay all the bills and everything like that. So she
What is
writes.
the website? Let's talk about it. Let's get you guys some more money, man.
Our website is statebystate.net, and that's a travel website. And we originally started it to talk about our travels, but then it changed over the years to now where we just more write about places and how to travel and stuff like that. And so
Is it a
it
blog type article thing?
not anymore. It started out that way. It was like, hey, this is a way for family to keep track of us, but it's changed over the years to now it's more like, hey, this is Wichita, here's stuff to do in the area. So we try and more write it to be informational and to help people. It's still us because I usually use pictures of us or pictures of our travel, and we still do stuff from the perspective of what families would like to do to travel in the area or whatever. And sometimes it is lifestyle. Here's about the lifestyle of traveling all the time. But a lot of times it's more like what to do in an area, but we use our firsthand knowledge. So it's very handy because if we're talking about Wichita, we're talking about the stuff that we did. So
Right.
we've been there.
Actual experience.
And we went there and we did a whole bunch of these things. And these were the things that were actually cool stuff that you should do if you're there. And that's a lot different than a lot of people who are on the internet because they just research on the internet stuff to do and then they post it up. So it's like, I don't know, it's this great re-almagation thing that happens on the internet where it's like somebody writes an article about this and then it's like 500 other people are writing articles, but they're all just using that original article or other articles to hash together their own little thing. Here's my take on it, but it's like nobody's actually going and doing this stuff. So that's one of the things with our website is we pretty much only talk about stuff that we've done. And
Nice.
so
That's like content doubling. I do that a lot. You could probably take some from this. I'll write a newsletter or an article, and then I'll make a video about that article and put it out. So it kind of doubles up what I wrote. That might be something to explore for the blog. And we made videos out of all of them, just reading what you wrote. Educational stuff is very big in the algorithm, teaching people something, giving them information. That would be really sweet. That's an idea.
I like that. And I used to have to drive traffic to the website. Granted, I just plugged it. Oh, statebystate.net. That's plugging it. There's a whole promotional thing. But I used to have to actively drive people to the website. And I stopped doing that like 2 years ago. The website has over 100 articles. It just gets hits on Google. I don't have to drive traffic. People just go to it, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
But and I think part of that is because we don't write low quality content. So when my wife wrote an article about Juneau, it was a very insightful article for people who want to visit Juneau because we flew to Juneau and we did a whole bunch of stuff in Juneau and are very honest about this is the cool thing, this is the end. We tend to focus on the positive because we are positive minded people. And so we tend to just, if something is horrible, just not mention it. But if we recommend stuff, it's because we actually liked it and we did it.
Yeah, you're not being paid by anyone, right?
No, literally we have a little bit of stuff where we make money through the website with various things because you have to try to pay for stuff and websites are expensive. But no, I don't have any sort of sponsor or anybody who's like, hey, you should sell our thing. We don't sell product. Now that I'm a travel agent, hey, if you want to book travel, you should use me as a travel agent. But I'm once again 100% honest with people when I'm a travel agent. I had a guy who wanted to go to Orlando and he was like, can you get me a better deal for these certain tickets? And saved him a bunch of money on a car. I saved him money on a hotel, but on the tickets, I was like, well, I can book them for you if you want, but literally I'm not going to be able to save you money. That's just that particular product they have locked up pretty well. And I'm just like, I can book it for you, but it's literally going to be the same price as if you go on and book it. And he was like, wow, you're very honest about it. And I'm like, well, I'm just an honest person. I always am. Like, I don't ever lie about it. Drives my wife crazy because sometimes I say stuff and she's like, I don't know if you should just be telling people that. But I'm like, I can't help it. I'm just always honest because if you're
I get the same thing a lot. Why did you say that? Well, it was true. Maybe I should withhold more information, but I have a problem with telling the truth as well.
Maybe that's why we get along so well because we're both similar.
Perhaps. But yeah,
But
so you mentioned that you guys went to Colorado for your son to look at college.
mhm.
You guys just drop him off and then bounce to Italy?
No, so we were there. We volunteered for a couple months at the state park, and then he got this job with this guy, and he was planning on just staying there, which I
Hmm.
don't think his boss was very happy because then over the summer, I think he kind of realized, hey, it sounds so great when you're 18. Hey, I'm a man now, and I'm going to move out on my own, and I'm going to be my own guy. And then he was like, man, I got to go to work every day. I got to pay bills. I got to buy
Reality
food.
set in. Wait a minute.
And he's like, wait a second, you guys are going to Italy, and he speaks Italian and has studied Italian and Latin for his schooling. And he was
Okay.
like, and then he goes to the classes and he's going to be a gunsmith. So he goes to the classes and he's like, I'm the only young guy in the class, Dad. And I'm like, really? And he's like, apparently it's like an older guy thing because every other student is in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. He's like, I'm 18 and doing this, and I'm the only young guy in the class. And I was like, does that upset you? And he's like, no, I don't care, but it's made me realize I don't have to immediately go and do this necessarily. This
Yeah.
college will be here later. So my wife was super happy. Hey, Miles decides to come with us to Italy. His boss
Yeah.
wasn't as happy because he was like, you're a good worker and you kick butt. And
So sad. I got places to see, my man.
it's one of those things where it's like, do I want to stay and work and do this job or do I want to go to Italy? And it's an easier thing to pick, right? Who doesn't want to explore another country?
Right. I do understand that need as a young man when you're kind of, I want to get out there and do things on my own type deal. But also, it sounds like he's mature enough to know, like, this, unless I make this happen for myself, I may never tour the world again. I'm experiencing a once in a lifetime opportunity that most people really don't get to see. I think
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's why I love following your story. I love your family dynamic and what you guys are doing.
Well, yeah, because he's 18, so it's not like I haven't told any of my kids what they should do with their lives ever.
Mhm.
My parents told me, hey, when I was younger, I wanted to drive a cement truck. And this is a
Okay.
true story. Like, I wanted to drive a cement truck. I just really liked them. I thought the cement trucks were cool. And my mom persuaded me. She spent all this time and effort telling me I shouldn't do it. And it's like, I realized later in life, I was like, well, first off, I was young enough that I probably would have changed what I wanted to do anyways. And
Right.
second off, she dissuaded me from that. Cement truck drivers make good money. It's a good profession. It's always in high demand. I met a guy who drove a water truck and he loved it and was like, all I do is wet down the construction sites. I make a great living. I get to set my own hours and choose my jobs. And I'm like, so it made me realize I should never try and tell my kids what to do with their life
Right.
professionally. And so their whole life, I've always just told them, just do things that make you happy. Try and be a good person. Be honest. I've told them stuff like that. Have morals, have principles, stand up for yourself. Things like that, I'll tell them, hey, you should probably do this. Profession wise, I have never said, hey, you should do this for a living. I
Yeah.
do tell them, hey, this has future potential. Hey, this, not so much. When my son was into programming, I told him there'll be a need for programming for a long time if you
Oh,
get
yeah.
into computer programming. So it's let them pick what they choose to study, and it's also let them grow themselves. So when Miles was turning 18, it was like, dude, you can do whatever you want. You're 18 now. You're legally an adult. You can move out whenever you want, but you're free to stay with us. But if you want advice, we'll still help you. We'll still do stuff. And so I think that because of that, it's allowed him to mature a little bit faster than some other kids to where he is really a mature 18-year-old at this point. And he's making these decisions with consciousness about it. When he decided to come with us to Italy, he had a discussion with me. It was like, what's going to happen with my boss? What long term will happen with this job that I have here that I've done? What will happen if I delay going to college? And we had to have this whole series of very adult conversations that were like, dude, that boss might never hire you again. You have to be willing to understand that and live with the consequences and deal with it. And I think that is just different than a lot of 18-year-olds get from their parents because it's like they get told, no, do this. And I never tell them.
I was told, no, you got to go to work. You're calling in sick. You got to be there. You got to show up. All that stuff. I wasn't encouraged to be, well, if you don't like that, then let's find something else. But you can't leave until you find something else or something like that would have been a little better, I think.
Right, because I told him there's consequences. So if you leave this job, he gave the guy 3 or 4 weeks notice. As soon
Oh,
as
he's
he made the
fine.
decision,
Yeah.
and the guy was like, first like, well, I don't know if I'm going to hire you back, but then later had to admit to Miles, well, you're the best worker that I've ever had. Period. Hands down, you're the best worker. So I told Miles, well, he told you that. That's a clue right there. He'll hire you back. That means that he will hire you back if he has work.
Yep. Trying to hustle you to stay because he needs you.
Right. So, and that was actually that warmed my heart as a dad because I was like, obviously I've taught my kids good work ethics, and and but we did have to have that discussion. If you make this choice to come with us, that might happen. If you put off college, it could mess this up. It could mess that up. But you have to make these choices. You have to do. He's got to do some of the footwork for the college. We're not filling out the paperwork for him. No, you have to do that, dude. That's part of the
Yeah.
experience, part of the learning part. You have to learn how to do these things on your own. And so he's made the decision to travel with us to Italy. And then obviously he was like, well, I'll stick with you to Spain. And then I was like, well, now I need to know because I'm going to go to Morocco. Do I need to get you a flight back or no, I'll go with you to Morocco.
He's going to be there the whole time. Like, why wouldn't you? As a young kid, you get to travel the world, man. That's so great. I would just not go to college until you guys were sick of traveling.
I don't think that we'll ever get sick of traveling though, because we're at 10
Are we going to
years.
be doing this in 15 years, Chris?
I have no idea, sir. We were planning for 1 year. 1 year is what our plan was. Oh, we're going to America for 1 year.
How long have you been out now?
Of full-time travel? There's a debate in our family about that because when I tell people 10 years, they go, well, no, because it depends on what exactly you mean. We're at 9 years and I want to say 3 or 4 months of travel. But that's 9 full years. So we're in year 10 of traveling, but it depends on how you compute all the info or whatever. But we're
All
at
10 years.
That's what I say. Come on, that's 10 years of travel. But we're at technically 9 years and 3 months and some weeks or something like that. But
Some change. Who cares?
Exactly.
Long time.
now this is different because now we're traveling internationally and we live out of not suitcases because I figured out from going to Hawaii, I learned a lot of stuff going to Hawaii. I learned about how to pick vacation rentals, the difference between a vacation rental and a hotel. I learned how to rent a car and agreements with car companies. I learned about suitcases and how living out of a suitcase is different than having your own trailer and having your own space. And so I brought some stuff to Hawaii that I laugh about. I brought tools and like we had this whole suitcase filled with stuff and we got back and I'm unpacking it going, I did not need nearly as much as I thought. We brought way more clothes than we needed. So when we started to go through the planning stages of how we're going to go international, now we're going to go to other countries, I ditched the suitcases. I have suitcases. I just left them back in the States and I bought travel bags. So I found backpacks that were literally the largest carry-on sizes that are allowed by all the airlines. And I bought one of my things with the suitcases. It was one set and everybody was using it. So I never knew which one was my suitcase. So I go to get my stuff and I'd open it up and be like, this isn't mine. And then I go to a different one. This isn't either. So everybody gets their own bag this time. Everybody's this different. The bag, I'm like, that's my bag, or oh, that's this person's bag. They're all, you can wear them on your back. So it's a little tricky because then you don't have wheels. But they're
all of your stuff on you then, right? Because your travel dynamic has 50 since you were in the States because you were in an RV and you could pick up and go at your leisure, right? So now you got to do a little planning, probably a rental car, a flight. You got to do a little more planning. Is it easier doing it this way or was it much nicer just having the RV? All right, I'm sick of this. Yeah, we're going.
I think that it's easier with the RV just because we have so much experience. And it was very laid back to where I literally did not know until the night before where we would go, which blows people's minds. They think
so beautiful. I hear you say that. I'm just not knowing where you're going to go and then just picking a spot spontaneously. Yeah, that sounds so romantic. I love that.
And it was like, and there's a lot of people who do plan with the RV travel and stuff, but literally we were to the point where I'm like, I have my Google Maps has like everywhere and we have different categories and one of them is camp spots or boondocking spots. And like, it's just literally thousands of pins everywhere because we've traveled so much now. So it's really easy with the camping. Oh, we're driving through Texas. I'm like taking every route through Texas. I've visited every major city except Laredo, but like other major city I've been in. We've been camping everywhere in there. We have friends in different spots. So it's very easy. If I'm driving through Texas, I go, which route do I want? I got a couple different places picked out. I don't have to have something. But then beyond that, there's like, we haven't gone. So usually that's actually what my wife prefers. She goes, well, let's not go back. Let's go to new places. So I just pick a
Yeah.
place that's new. And then I go, okay, we'll go there. And then we roll in. And it's like, do you got a spot? No? Okay, well, there's another pin on the map an hour away. I'll go there. I don't care. So it was very much like back at that point only because of how extensively traveled and how good we are at traveling with the RV. So coming over here, it's kind of twofold. Not only do I have to plan more than I used to, but also it's a completely different form of travel. And so I've learned a lot of lessons in Italy. Like, knew we were
Here's
going
some
to fly.
travel advice to the listeners, Chris.
Yeah, I knew we were going to fly into Rome because that's the cheapest flight into Italy from JFK. And
Okay.
the cost for us to fly the entire family to Italy was cheaper than many people spend to fly across America with one person. Like, yeah, I'm really good at getting deals and seeing value. And I'm a good at travel agent. I'm really good at this stuff now.
Nice.
So the flight into Rome was a no-brainer. Okay, we'll fly in there. But then when we left, I literally did not know where we were going afterwards. Like,
They were here.
we could go back to America. We could go back somewhere in Europe. We could go to Asia. Like, I literally had no destination planned after Italy. Like I said, I knew we were going to Rome. I had 8 days planned in Rome, and then I had picked a rental. Well, my wife had picked a rental in Camiora, which is this little small medieval village in the Tuscany region. And so she picked it because of reasons, mostly just because of gut feeling. Like, we looked at hundreds of rentals, and that was the one that she was like, I don't know, I have a feeling. And then she showed it to me, and I went, I don't know why, but I have a feeling. And she goes, did you just say that? Like, crazy, because that's why I picked it. And I was like, let's go with it then.
Let's double up that feeling. Sounds like it's correct.
And it was. Oh, man, it was correct on so many levels. So
Nice.
anyway, so I knew okay, so I had those 2 rentals planned, right? And I knew, like, could be it for Italy, but I don't really know. So then after a couple weeks, it was like, no, let's go to Parma for a couple nights. Let's go to Genoa. Yeah, I did a little bit. But then I started looking and I was like, I have this car rented and I'm supposed to return it to this place at this time. Now we're changing our plan. Do that with a car rental company, they tack on more money, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, well, I can make this work, Sarah, but like if we don't change the destination, at least if we keep it Genoa, it'll only tack on a daily rate. And so it wasn't that bad. Well, she threw a big curveball and was like, I don't want to fly to our next destination. I want to take this cruise ship ferry thing. And I was like, okay, it's cool and intriguing. I'm down. And she's like, either that or take a train. So I'm looking on the map and like, I'm returning the car to the airport and the ferry terminal's like a couple miles away. The airport to the train station is like 20 miles away.
You're going to walk? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I walked.
Oh, man.
I'm not joking. No, I ended up picking the ferry because it was just a neat thing to take a ferry. And so I got us rooms. We had beds. So it was like we went to sleep in Italy and woke up in Spain. So it was kind of cool.
How long was this ferry ride?
20 hours.
Oh, snaps. Okay. I think of ferry in terms of just across the river.
It's like a big section of the Mediterranean. So that's
the Mediterranean Ocean. That's the ferry.
Yeah. So I picked a hotel that was like within distance of this ferry, and then I just went and I dropped off the car, and I could have got a cab. I asked a cabbie over there, like, well, how much is it? And he's like, 25 euros. And I'm like, a couple kilometers, and I had miles with me, and I was like, honestly, I had been in the car all day. We took this back road from Parma to Genoa, and it was like gorgeous, all these mountains. But it was also 45 minutes of me doing this with the steering wheel, or 4 hours of me doing this with the steering wheel back and forth, Like, I don't want to be just sitting in a car, and I don't want to just go back to the hotel room and sit there. I was like, I kind of want anyways. And so I was like, Miles, do you mind if I, pay for the cab? I'm like, I have the money for the cab. That's not the point. It's like $25 to go, half kilometers. I'm like,
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no, I don't mind. We can walk. So we walked, and it was like 40 minutes. It was like one of my favorite things we did because it was like just me and him.
Yeah, you had quality time with your boy.
Yeah, it was like some very adult conversation because the other kids weren't around, so we could talk about.
I love that.
And so I think that that's part of the thing is that like sometimes just roll with what the universe says. Hey, maybe you should do this, and we're just like, all right, sure, why not? And then it ends up being the best. So anyway, I did learn though when we went to Spain, I was like, Sarah, I have to know my exit point before we get there for the
Yeah.
rental car because I have to know where to return that rental car because it was like, the day, $25 a day for me to add days, but for me to switch the rental point, they wanted several $100s
Right.
because they're like, now we got to like send fetch the car and I get it. I'm like, okay, sense.
Yeah.
So I was shopping for where to go in Spain and I saw these plane tickets to Morocco and they were $125 for the entire family. I guess we're going to Morocco next. I mean,
Beautiful. I wish I could do that. Yeah, some tickets to Spain. Family, pack it up. We're going. That's so
well,
awesome.
that's the thing about being one way, right? It's like I have like a thing. Of course, now I'm like, I got this plane ticket to Morocco. I didn't have I was leaving from Seville, I knew, but like I have a hotel room in Seville. So I have like a bottle like 3 days right now to where it's like, I'm this rental and then I have a plane, but it's in a couple days. So I'm literally have like a blank spot. And that might drive some people crazy. Like, oh,
Yeah.
how could you not know, right? Then we're going to fly into Morocco. I don't have anything planned in Morocco. I don't have a rental. I don't
You're
have a
gonna
car.
walk out of the airport like, all right, now what?
I have 3 here at this rental. So I
Okay.
have some. So we were shopping and I think my wife found a spot, the hotel that has a jacuzzi on the balcony, like a jacuzzi. And the price
Okay.
is like as all the others. So it's like a selling point, especially after driving across Spain. I'll be like, yeah, hop a jacuzzi. So I
Yeah.
think I'm going to do that. I just have to actually go and like reserve it or whatever. But if you pull up Seville, there's like hotels. Like find a hotel. That's not worrisome. And in Morocco, guess what? They got rentals everywhere. So it's not, I mean, it's so scary and esoteric. Like, oh, you're just going to go and you have nothing planned. But it's like, there's like stuff. And I think we learned this from traveling in the trailer because it was really scary not planning originally because it's like, where are we going to camp? And then it's like, after enough time, I realized like there's campsites everywhere. And I only need
Right.
one.
I bet your entire family has adapted skill at life that you can keep yourself busy or content in most settings more better than most people would. Just because you're consistently in new places and you're kind of like, what do we do? And then you find stuff to do. Some people go and just like not do anything. Like now, let's go sit in the hotel. You guys are
Yep.
like, all Europe. All right, what do you want to do? I want to go see the tower. I want to go see the church. Well, I want to go see this.
Yeah, and we have this wonder about life. I don't know. I thought it was like everybody have it, but apparently it's like not that everybody has to where it's like we stuff fascinating or like constantly we'll be walking and we'll see some doorway. And it's just everybody else is just walking past. It's just a door. And like somebody in the family would be like, wow, look at this door. Oh, the carvings. Oh, the hinges on it are all stamped. And like we're all like oohing and over some door. And like others
Yeah.
walking by, like, what are you doing? We're going to like the tourist attraction that everybody is in town to see. And we're like, yeah, but door is this cool. And it's like,
Yeah, but this door, you know.
yeah,
No,
it's
I
like
get
that everywhere.
you guys seek out beauty world, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, and everywhere when you start looking, it's like praying mantis on the ground. Oh, look at this flower. Oh, look at this architecture. Like you somebody, and it's like that has interesting story. And like I'm doing this thing where I've been trying to contact every single person that I've ever interacted with. It's like mess around, right? I dream big.
Yeah.
And I'm this while we're like exploring and like I'm doing this travel agent schooling stuff and like I'm like doing all this stuff and I was like started to question my sanity, like why do I put so much on my plate? But it's like I just find that life is just so wonderful when you live that way, where it's like there's so much to see and do. Like you said, being bored, like we're bored, like ever, any level. And so anyway, so I started contacting people like left and right, like friends from school, and like I figured out, holy cow, I have met a lot of people over the years. Like I was like 100, but it's not. It's like people that I've been in contact with. I noticed that there's always like two. It's either one, it's like following all your stuff, and then they kind of just talk about my stuff a little bit, or they're like, that's it, I don't need to talk anymore. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm not contacting you to talk about my stuff. I talk about my stuff on social media all the time. I wrote a book talking about my stuff. I me on this podcast and I'm just chatting away about my stuff. Like naturally ask me about stuff and I talk about it all the time. So it actually kind of gets, I don't want to say boring, but it gets like repetitive. Like it's thing. So when I'm reaching out to these people, I'm looking for the opposite. I'm actually more intrigued about them. Like I don't care about what
Right.
you're doing. And so the
Oh,
people
I
who,
got you. So, yeah, I'm asking your life or a guy like me, like, dude, what you're doing, because that shit is fascinating.
right.
It is. It is.
So
And
I'm
so
reaching out
the
to all these
opposite of
people.
that would suck for you, I bet.
It doesn't suck. It just, I'm reaching to people and I'm like more in what they're doing. And the best
Right.
conversations were the ones who were like not on social media at all. And they were just like, started like, he like really going off. Like, all of his daughter and like he's having, and it basically became like I'm like another guy your age, and I have literally nobody in my life that I can talk about with this stuff. And it became like almost therapy, but I was happy because it was like he got a bunch of stuff off his chest or just bounced it off me. He got to like vent some stuff, and it was like on and on. We're having these conversations, right? And
Uh-huh.
then, but like it's all these weird times because I'm in this weird time zone. I'm like 6 in the future. So I would start chatting with them, and then it would get to be like 1 in the morning here, and I'm like, okay, I'm in bed, you know. I wouldn't say like I'm going to bed. I just like, I go for a while or whatever, and then like the day I'm like, well, I can't call him right in the morning or talk to him in the morning because it's like 3 in the morning there. So I have to wait to the
Yeah.
afternoon. But over a couple days, we had this conversation, and it was like this conversation, and it was so hilarious because then at some point I was like, hey, can we switch from text messaging to email because I'm out of the country and it costs me a lot to internationally text, but if we email, then it's free for me on Wi-Fi. And he was like, you're out of the country? Like, I don't even know. Like, where are you at? What are you doing? What's going on? I didn't even ever ask. And he like felt bad about it. And I was like, no. It's like one of the best conversations I've had all week because it was like he literally did not ask me a single thing about what we were doing. And he felt bad about it. It was like, care. Like I'm to people to talk to them to find out about their life, to find out about what they're doing. And then I don't know, I find it helpful to like get perspectives, I guess. And then just it's nice to just catch up with people that I haven't talked to in a super long time.
Dude, you sound like you need a podcast, bro.
I know, huh? I don't know. I
If you ever want, I've been doing this recently, lately. Like over the last, I've been here 2 months. So 2 months ago, I ended up moving to Chapel Hill, and I separated from my family or my wife, and
really
I live in a home, big home with 5 different people in it. It's the owner. It's kind of like Airbnb kind of thing, but it's a long-term rental, and there's 5 of us that live here, and they're all like medical or they're all professionals. They have really good technical jobs. And so what I've been doing, what I've really loved about being in this house is just being able to have an intelligent conversation on a variety of topics, just
right.
having intelligent conversations. And so we've had so many that I started recording them. I just pop up the camera in the living room, like, all right, let's chat. Let's talk about this and record it. Because it's a lot of fun to me just to use my brain and my voice and, to address problems with someone. So if you ever want to just hop on and dive deep on a topic and just have an intelligent conversation about it, I would love to do that and record it.
Nice.
Like if you're thinking of a crazy topic, like, this is a bit heavily on my mind, let's listen about it. I would love that.
Yeah,
Anytime.
and I'm totally down because like obviously talking a lot about travel, it always ends up being with travel just because we do live this weird, crazy lifestyle and like it's because a lot of times I'm not actually specifically setting out to talk about travel. I'm like about whatever. And like I have this dynamic with my family. Like my wife about just random stuff. I talked about the psychology of social media I think it was last night or the night before. We had this great discussion just about social media and how it influences people. And it was till like 1:30 in the morning. And then I was like, we got to go to bed because I want to like get up work in the morning and do my routine and then still go and explore. And she was like, oh yeah, but we had an interesting dynamic between the two of us with the social media because she's not on social media at all. Like
Zero?
zero, dude. Zero.
Huh. That
So
handicap in her skills as far as social media with that?
no, because she ran. So she for our articles for website and done all kinds of stuff. She writes professionally for all these people. She's on like talking to coworkers and stuff sometimes. So she still has like social with people, but it's all like work quickly. She ran our Instagram account for maybe 2 years or 3 years. And
Mhm.
she grew it to where she was over the 1,000 mark and she was pretty good at it or whatever. And she's stuff like that. She's very
She's
good
a
at it.
writer. How come she's not on Substack monetized? If she's writing articles all the time, publish those on Substack. she could charge people just to follow her. She could charge people for articles, or they would just pay her eventually. If she's writing that much content, just also post it on Substack.
Well, she can't
It's-
write. So she works for a couple clients now, and so they buy her content, and so she can't publish that content on. I mean, she published some of the other stuff that she writes for us or for
Surf
different.
writing or any of your travel blog stuff, that would be a fascinating Substack channel, and I would follow that. I bet tons of people would follow that. That's fascinating. That's great media platform for writers.
Okay, well, I'll talk to her about that because
look up, man. A new income out for you guys.
Okay. I think the part of the thing is that she doesn't like about social media is because when she's on social media a lot, then when you talk to them, it's always just like a reference of like, yeah, social media. And that ends the conversation. Right. And so that frustrates her. And it's kind of a thing between us that we have to talk about sometimes because I'm on social media a lot because I promote our stuff that we do and like, but not only that, but I took a break from social media because I told her I would at one point for 9 months or a year. And then when we went to Alaska, I was like, well, I have to post about this because all these people were following on our adventure and they were like, the whole goal was to see every state. And we had just Alaska and Hawaii left. And so I felt like kind of to do this just for the people who followed along for so long, like that were kind of probably wondering, like, what happened to these people? They fell off the face of the earth.
Absolutely.
But we didn't change anything about our lifestyle. We were doing the exact same thing. We're going to the national parks. We're going to museums. We're just living our life. But like, not basically is what we were doing for a minute. For like 9 months, I didn't share anything. And then I went to Alaska and I posted it, and I got so many messages for people that were like, "Oh my God, we were worried about what happened.
Where'd you go, dude? Yeah.
Where did you go? How come you stopped posting? Like, one of the highlights of my day was watching your family travels."
Right.
I'm on my Facebook feed, especially. I'm slightly philosophical with my posting, and I try and like inspire people or like help with their dreams. Like, I'm willing to help anybody in life ever for anything, for reason, wherever we're at. That's like my thing. I'm a samurai to serve. I serve people. I will serve anybody at any point, anywhere. Like literally, I just helped strangers so many times in my life. I find it rewarding. So all of a sudden, I started getting all these messages, like people almost in tears, like worried about you, and we followed along with your family, and we missed you, and we want to see your travels. And so when we were in Alaska, I told her, like, I have to keep doing the social media content. I feel obligated because of these other people. And so we kind of
service. You're providing an emotional service to some people.
Yeah. And I'm doing it for free just because I like doing it. Like, I monetize it at all. Like, that is all just. So anyway, so I told her, well, I have to at least do Alaska and Hawaii. And so then we went to Alaska for a minute. Then we went to Hawaii for like 3 months, and I posted about it. And I don't know, when we got back, I just told her, like, I'll be back. I won't do as much. And I limited my social media time to about an hour a day. But then I was like, I'm still going to do it because I just feel like I should do it. And so we had an agreement because that's what marriage is about. It was like, take. And so she was like, that's fine. But she was like, I'm not going to do it at all. Well, it's rough for her because when she calls somebody and they talk to her, she'll try and be telling them about some sort of thing that she did. And they're immediately like, oh, yeah, I saw your post on social media. The lady does not post a single thing on social media, but since they see me posting, they just assume like she's with it or something, and that she knows. She literally has no clue what I post on social media.
She doesn't.
No, she doesn't follow social media. She's not on there. She doesn't see what I post. I don't show her my post. I'm just unfiltered me on there. Like, it's me. That is not her at all.
And everybody's giving her credit for the post.
Yeah, and like just that she knows exactly what was posted and like what was said or what pictures I picked. Like, she some of the pictures, obviously, because we trade off. She'll have the camera, I have the phone, and then we'll switch. Okay, you take the phone and I'll take the camera. We just share one phone at this point. Why have two phones, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, especially with only one social handle. I don't even have to switch social handles or anything. It's like, no. I don't decide my social stuff for her. She'll be sitting right next to me and I'm on there and doing stuff or whatever. So it's not like I'm like, I have to have this secret social account. She could literally get on there at her heart's content. The phone is open to where she can go onto my social. Nothing's locked. My kids can go on there and scroll and stuff. Like, just interesting because the social media has changed the dynamics of stuff. And so, like, when I was talking to her yesterday, I was like, we can't get away from it. There's no going back now. The box has been opened. You can't do anything nowadays without social media having some sort of play on it.
Yeah, it's for every business.
Yeah.
Almost any kind of promotion you want to do, you're going to need some social media.
I know, and she does like stuff like that for her clients, and so it's interesting because she'll write copy content or content specifically for promotional purposes, and so she understands how SEO works. She understands how to get engagement on posts. Like she all the mechanics behind it, and she knows how to do it very well. She just chooses as like a choice not to. And so I find this fascinating, and so about like different discussions, and so I was kind of the other day like, well, understand the annoyance of if you're never on social media and then you talk to people in their media and they just assume that they see everything in your life. Like I put up a lot of stuff about our life. It's still only maybe 10%. Like
That makes sense.
when we do so much stuff that I don't post it up. Like a ton of stuff. Like we are constantly like out and about doing stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to just post every single time I go to the beach. Hey, I'm at the beach again. Hey, I always try and take like different angles, different stuff. And so I
Yeah.
was asking her, like, think about like, can you not ever do social media now? Like, and what's the reasoning why? And I found her answer to be very fascinating because she understands that like social media isn't going away. It's part of the fabric of society at this point. You're never going to get rid of it. But she had a good point. We were shooting a lot of like video. We were posting a lot about our family specifically. And it
Mhm.
started to become a thing to where like she wasn't necessarily doing stuff to enjoy it or like in the moment experiencing it. It became more about like the post, the angle for the article, the
It became obligatory.
and not only so she's really smart and like studies a lot. And so she was like, I was curious about the psychology of it. So she started reading about different blogger moms who were like doing specifically for that reason and how their kids later like resented the parent for it, and it became more
Mm.
you're all doing this just for us to be like your sure like actors or movie kind of a deal. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
never really thought about that angle of it. And so she was telling me like, I literally don't want it to be that way. I want to enjoy this stuff myself. I want to take the pictures for me later to just experience it later because we do so much stuff to remember the stuff. She was like, that's all my reasoning behind it. She's like, I don't care if you do it or not. Like, she's like, I understand that like at some point promotion becomes an issue because you have to have these social media programs to do it. And especially with me writing a book, she was like, you have to do it as an author. Like there's no way you can write a book nowadays and expect to sell copies if you're not doing some sort of social media content. So she's like,
Yeah.
I get it. Like you do it. But I mean, my book, I wrote a book about our travels and she didn't want me to because I have to talk about details of our life. And
I can understand that.
she wants to be
I
private.
respect her view on that. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It was like, okay, I told her, like, well, I wrote this book. And when I first wrote the book, I started writing short stories about other people that we've interacted with because I thought we won't be the main characters. I'll write the
Right.
book and it won't be about us. It'll just be about all these other people that we met. I mean, some amazing people on our travels. Uh, it worked that way. You end up being the main character whether you wanted to or not because you're the cohesive thread for all the stories. You're the thing that, like,
You're
is the, yeah, exactly, constant. So I figured out, no, you're just going to have to deal with it. So the forward to the book, I'll literally talk about like, this is a book my wife doesn't want me to write, but I'm going to write it anyways. And I actually read today the story about us going to Alaska. And that was the moment that I decided to write the book
Mhm.
because all those people saying that about social media, I was like, I feel like it's selfish for me not to share these stories, to not share the window into our life.
I
And
see that perspective a lot, and I admire that.
so it's kind of a give or take. And so I don't know. She hasn't read the book. I haven't let her
Is
see
it
it.
out yet?
No, I'm on the final, and I have 3 stories left. There's
Okay.
24 stories because I figure out a way to write it from start to end because the 24 stories are maybe a third or a quarter of all the stories that are things that have happened on our travel. I mean, party members get catch on fire and we've had crazy stuff happen, right? Like a lot of it because we live life at like this pace compared to most people where we're doing stuff all the time.
Yeah,
And
your
so
is inconsistency, kind of. Not as you go.
and we with whatever. So when somebody says like this the of this place, um he's only Spanish and I speak very little Spanish, but we had this conversation when we got here and he was trying to tell us like, oh, this area, you have to go to this place. Well, when somebody tells us that, it's almost, did you ever see that movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Yes, not in a long time though.
It's like this thing by the psychologist where he has to always say yes. And I don't have it that bad where I have to say yes, but it's like if somebody suggests something, I am really inclined to say yes at this point because so many good things have happened that way. And
Right.
so this guy tells us, oh, you got to go to this castle in Santa Barbara. So we've already gone to there. Like, it's like, well, I suggested we do it. So let's, might as well. I mean,
Well, and you got to think of the psychology behind that. If someone's going to offer up something like that, like kind of aware, it means it built a special place inside their heart and their mind because it did something great for them. So why would we trust that? You know?
right. And so, yeah, I agree with that. And so many things have happened to us that have been great because of that. And so it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, we'll just roll with it or whatever and go with it. And so it has gotten to the point where it's like if somebody suggests something, then we do try and do it. But we do so much stuff that it's like if I was like trying to figure out like if I sat and I wrote all this down, it would like a page tome, like it was huge. And nobody
Right.
wants to put a book that big. That's just not the nature of books. Like, no publisher's going to want to publish that. No, it's going to cost me too much to print it. Nobody's going to want to pay that much for a book. So, like, how can I do this in a way that makes sense? And so I thought, we'll do some short stories, and I make it like our life, like a wild ride. Like, what's going to happen because that's how our life is, right? Like, never. So I actually
Yeah,
started.
this morning you didn't know you were going to be on my podcast, and here we are.
Yeah, exactly. I said yes. Like, sure, why? So the very first story in it is called "The Amish Pilot Who Ran Out of Gas." And
Great.
I met this guy who was he was an Amish guy. They ended up being Mennonites. Like I got all this detail about the reasoning why and how it all goes down. This guy wanted to be a pilot. He becomes a pilot. He takes me flying. We like ran out of gas flying this plane. Like, yeah. So, but I met the guy was even weirder because I met the guy at an air show doing laundry that was in Wisconsin. It's the largest air show in the world because a guy in Texas that I was staying on his property randomly suggested that we go there because it had a great fireworks show. So a guy in Texas suggests we go to an air show in Wisconsin. I meet a lady doing laundry. She finds out that I wanted at the time to sail around the world. She's like, you got to meet my husband. So then she invites me to go to their property with the whole family. Like, we take everybody up flying because none of you guys have flown, And we ended up there, and then we ran out of gas. And yeah,
Dude.
you got to buy the book to find out.
Hey, no, I will not. I will buy the book when it comes out. I want to be on your let me think.
So I ran out of gas. He was doing like aerobatics with everybody, like doing loops and stuff like that in a plane not rated for it, and you're not supposed to do that. Yeah. And he was trying to rattle everybody's nerves, right? But my family has nerves of steel when it comes to this stuff. Like we've everything from venomous snake bites to, mountains and everything in between. Like, none of them were rattled at all when you do this stuff. But every one of them individually told him, but when my dad gets in the car or in the plane, he's going to be rattled because I'm afraid of heights. So I don't do well with heights, right? So he goes, well, my family warned me that you might not even get in the plane. And I'm like, I don't pass up opportunities. So I'll get in the plane. I'll risk it. I'll do it or whatever.
Yeah.
And did some acrobatics and stuff. And then we went off to do some more stuff, but we flew away from where we were at. Well, the top of the engine wasn't sealed. So he had lost gas every flip, right?
Oh, okay.
So he goes, oh, I think we might be out of gas. And I'm like, are you still just trying to rattle my cage? Like he's like,
telling me that an airplane, bro? You keep that to yourself.
Yeah. So he goes, no, the gas gauge right there. And he points to it. And I look and I'm like, the little bobby thing, all the way down to where there's like nothing. I'm like, oh no. But we're in a plane to where it's like, if you run out of gas, you just glide to the ground. He could land in a field. It wasn't just a smaller plane. So it wasn't, he was like,
I know if I would feel that nonchalant if that was happening to me. No, it's fine. We don't need gas to land this plane.
Yeah.
Winging, dude.
No, and we landed. It was fine or whatever. But I chose to start with that story because it is a roller coaster because it starts down here, it goes up there, it goes over here. Like it's got a couple different characters in it, and it's like it does show like a window of our life of like the to it all. Like I know how we met these people, like, and this whole thing unfolded, and like now, like my friend, like I go and stay on this property if I wanted right now. Like he let us stay.
You have a million of those, Chris, don't you? Bunch of contacts all over the country that you could probably call in a pinch.
I don't have a million, but I do have a long list. And I have a lot
Yeah.
of people that I just randomly send pictures to occasionally, or I'll just chat them up. Hey, what are you doing? They'll be a message every once in a while, like, family doing? What are you up to? I thought it would be fun to start that way, but then I talked to a bunch of different people, and some people were like, maybe you should start the book with a little context of like who you are and like where you guys can do some of this stuff. So I dialed it back a little bit. That's the second story now.
Okay.
The first story is more just like us hitting the road. It's kind of more the background of what led us to want to hit the road. How did the starting travel thing begin?
Yeah.
And the way through but every single chapter is a different point in our travel. So it is a bit of a roller coaster still, because it's like, okay, start with year 1, but then we're going to hop to year 6, and then I'm going to hop back to year 2, and then we're going to go to year 7, and then we're going to go to year 5. And I designed it that way. Like it has like a plot arc. Like I'm a serious author. This isn't my first book. Like it's a serious plot arc. It has a very definite beginning, middle, and end, but it does have a wild feel to it where it's like you never really know what's going to happen because we don't know what's going to happen.
Right. You're sitting on a bestseller, dude.
Maybe, I hope. I mean, my wife, I'm going to be a best-selling author one day. I just don't know which book it'll be. So,
Chris, I 100% believe that you will, just because of the person that you are. You strike me as someone that says something and does what he says.
that's very true. I am that way. Like I
Know you that well, but that's what you strike me as. And just following you for the last year or two has been awesome.
well, it's. I mean, no, I'm within 2 months or 3 months, I'll be done all the way with the book. Like I'm literally finished editing the book in less than a week.
Okay.
But then I have to do formatting. I got to do. I'm just now asking people like if I should do a deluxe version with pictures. We've taken 750,000 pictures.
Dude, you should release 2 different versions of it. Release your regular version and do one with the pictures. I think that would add your stories that you're telling.
I think that's the way I'm going to do it, only because to go through 750,000 pictures is going to take me a minute. It's going to take a while to like go and stuff. Probably release the original book, and then I'll do a deluxe version. And then I have, oh my gosh, dude, I have 8 other books already plotted out and ready to go, and some of them written. I have 1 sci-fi written, and then 4 others ready to go, and then I have a how to follow or how to make your dreams a reality type book, like a self-help book, because I want to pay it forward. I'm like at the point now where I'm like, okay, I have to live my dreams for 10 years. My mission now is literally to help somebody else achieve their dream.
Nice.
And it's weird to me because I put this offer out all the time, and I'm like, all the time I'm like, people like it's weird how like it's to find somebody who wants to dream and wants to go after it. It's like
been a on my podcast for like the year. I have our own podcast, but we kind of don't. It's very difficult for him to motivate himself to come to do it. That sentiment, not just with him, has been so many people that I come across in this life. They're just like, they're stuck at this place. Like they say they want more, but they're having trouble taking that step into whatever it is. And how I did it was like, the way I feel about it. I quit drinking because I thought I was going to die if I did it. And I still believe that. And so from then on, everything was kind of easier. I'm like, let's do all the things that I want then, however long it takes, in the media company. This started 4 years ago. Like the year this happened when I first got sober. The podcast and the company didn't come until 2 years later. And then, working on it. But I just kept trying to move it forward. Like write it down and put time to it every day. Even if it's 5 minutes, 3 minutes, write something down, make one plan for that thing, whatever it is.
so
getting people to do that has been very difficult. You know what I mean?
It is, but like what you said right there probably is the gold anybody can pluck from this if they're watching that. Like right there that you just said, you daily did something for it. And really, that's the key. Like everybody's all like, oh, how do you, like it's daily habits. Like every day we
Hmm.
do something towards our dreams
Yep.
every day. And
No
sometimes it
matter
is
how
small
small it
things.
is.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. And sometimes it's hours and hours and we spend on it. But it's like a daily thing. Like when you make it a daily routine, it's
Yep.
like boom, life just starts to change. It doesn't happen all at once, but it's like starts to magically fall into place and like you're literally changes. It's like well, all you have to do is just whatever, and it's like anything. Like I've told my kids, it's like you want to fly a plane, chase it every day. If you chase
Start now.
anything every day, you will eventually achieve it. Like it's
Crazy how that works. And I kind of was because I knew that I was an alcoholic, an addict. So that tells me that my habits were wrong. And if I can devote that much time and energy into trying to drink or trying to find drugs and do them, then I'll obviously have that energy already. Now let's decide the things that I actually want and put that energy that I was putting there into all this. Now it's a double-edged sword. Like I go to the gym way too much and I work out too much. I know that. I have a problem stopping. So like it's a better habit and it's more healthy for me to be addicted to going to the gym than it is to smoke crack or drink. I just reallocated my habits into good things.
well, and
I'm,
there is a thing about moderation though. I've told my kids this, like moderation's the key and stuff. Like you can do anything too much. If you do it too
yeah,
much, then it can be detrimental. So you have to be self-aware of stuff like that, and you do have to know when to limit behavior because like if I spend every single day researching travel for 6 hours or helping travel clients or doing only travel related stuff, well, then now I'm not going to experience my kids. Now I'm not going to experience my wife. Now I'm not going to go out and experience these places that I'm at. So you do have to
right,
find that like balance of like, okay, the thing is just at least doing some little small activity every day towards it. Like it's,
right,
you figure out the cap, like, okay, it's amazing if you just spend a couple hours doing almost anything, then you have huge, tremendous results. So it's not like, I spent 12 hours doing this or whatever, but at some point it will become detrimental. Like, oh, you read for 12 hours straight. Yeah, you're getting this knowledge, but then your eyes start to have issues because you're like too much. Like, so you do have to
yeah.
know when to limit. And that's where balancing comes into play. But most people don't do hardly any beneficial activity on the daily. And that's the problem is like, well, no, every day you should be chasing your dream. Every day you should be talking about your dream. And if you
Right.
do that, then your dream becomes a reality. It's like a
That's how manifestation works. You have to keep it as part of your own internal dialogue.
yeah,
The thing that I do to keep up on my own stuff is every single morning before I look at my phone, I journal with intention. Like, here's what I need to get done today. Here's everything I'm grateful for. Here's a bunch of positive affirmations that I want to
nice.
have about myself. Like, I'm kind. I want myself to be before I even look at my phone or even start my day. Put everything down on not paper, I type it. But what that also does is when I get back to the seat tomorrow morning, I can review everything that I said I was going to do yesterday. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to do that. I'll put that on my list today. Make sure I get that done today. But it holds me accountable to myself. You know what I mean? I always have a checklist, and if I forget, I can look back at yesterday and be, oh crap, make sure I don't miss anything. And
So
that has been so helpful.
I do a similar thing, but it's a little bit more esoteric, I guess. I started doing this thing where there's a Japanese scientist, I can't remember his name, but he studied water crystals and how they actually will take or like if you speak negatively into a water crystal, it fragments it. If you speak positively, it'll keep the crystals. So
I saw a study like that.
I do the same exact thing where I do like words of affirmation and like the act of gratitude and I say this stuff, but I actually say it to our water. And then when we're
Okay.
drinking it, it's like because then it's like in the water. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing where it's like, hey, I'm telling the universe why I'm grateful and what I'm happy for and and it makes it so that you do focus more on that stuff because it's like you're bringing your attention to it. So then you're like, oh, like, and I noticed a lot of stuff that was not really positive just fell to the wayside when I started doing that because it was like, dwell on the negative. Why am I watching politics so much? I can't even handle how much negativity there is in it. Why am I doing that and getting all riled up and having all these negative emotions? And it's like now I'm speaking happiness into my water and like, oh, I'm so grateful for our life. And it's like all of a sudden, like all things clicked into place. And it's like, wow, that actually had some sort of effect. And it sounds so weird, like even sound loud right there, like, oh, I'm
It
so
sounds weird talking about it, but I know that you're telling the truth because I experienced that for myself. I saw the same study where I don't know if it's the same one, but they took 2 glasses of water. One, they just insulted for like 30 days or something, and they were just super kind to and just reaffirmed it, gave it really good affirmations, and then they froze it, and the crystals of the water were perfect and pristine, and the ones on the water were all fractured, like you were saying.
Yeah,
Crazy, though. That's just
it is.
positive. That's almost like positivity and negativity have matter, like
Well, and
actual matter.
the reason that I should do it into the water is because I've learned that water is a good vessel for that, because water is not charged until you charge it, and then it's charged water. And so whatever you do, speak to the water, seems that it makes it so that your body then incorporates it, and so it super speeds the process up. It like makes it happen faster and have more of an effect, and you notice it more. And I like your way of doing it with the journal though, because then you also have like the items and you can like hold you accountable. So I do a similar thing to with one of my mentors. I do a check-in and I send like what I accomplished today, and this is, what I did that I'm proud of, and this is what I wanted to do but didn't get done. And so then there's some accountability. And I'm always like worried. I keep doing it, and I'm like, I hope I don't make you mad that I'm doing this. And they're always like, it's like my day. I get to see what you were up to, and it's like usually you have like your twist on it and your philosophy twisted up in it. And
Yeah.
but
That's a very similar thing that I learned in the AA program. I mean, part of it, but in the beginning, there was this thing called the 10th step. And it's like that you do at the end of the night, or check in with yourself. Like, was honest with everyone today? Was I kind to everyone today? What could I have done better today? Just, self check in. You kind of every interaction you had throughout the day, like, yeah, I've done that better. I'm going to call him tomorrow and apologize because that was messed up. Accountability check on yourself.
that's so
Try to
funny
do
because
that.
I do that like all the time myself anyways. After like I get off the podcast here, then I'm gonna be thinking, did I say the right things? What did I say? And I'll like review it. I guess I'm analytical like that. Like so, like get off the phone with somebody later, I'll be thinking about it. Or if I had an interaction, I'll be like, what could I have done that was better? How could I have handled that better? Or how could I improve the next time I communicate with someone? And I think that if you just continually try and self-improve, it just naturally like works. I guess I don't know. I
Yeah.
just feel like
Have you ever heard of the 5-second rule?
the what?
5-second rule. Have you read that? That was a self-help book that I read when I first got sober. But the whole concept is super simple. And the one that wrote it was experiencing one of those times in life where she was divorced and lost her job, didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, and having trouble getting herself to do stuff. And she came up with this concept called the 5-second rule, that she just counts down from 5 and then does it. You used a similar thing in
Yeah.
the movie Meet the Millers when he's
Yes.
talking about kissing a girl and he's just like, I just count to 3 and I go for it. So that's kind of a similar concept. Like whenever I'm facing something that I know I'm going to do, I know I should do, but I'm having trepidation or anxiety around it, we kind of use that concept as whatever, 5, 4, 3, 2, or in whatever it is,
Do
But
that from now on, going up on high stuff, because the heights is
it's
that's what
a
it
great
is.
concept.